right, everybody, let's go to Australia today. But before I do, let me say that based on the story I'm about to tell, I'm not trying to again make this about me. It's just that this is very relatable in these here United States. And since this came up, I just wanted to discuss it and get everybody's opinion on it. There are two mothers in Australia whose daughters play together in seems like public school. I don't understand the school system. So if you're an Aussie, please feel free to jump in and correct me because I don't know a lot about you all's culture. I've only ever gone to Australia once when I was a sailor in the Navy in my country here in the United States. And we pulled into Fremantle, I think it was, and I hung out in Fremantle in Perth. That's been so many years ago. The only thing I can remember is having chocolate in Perth. And you Aussies make the best chocolate in the world. Don't let nobody tell y'all otherwise. Small batch, expensive, but every bite was worth it. Now let me quit being stupid and get on to the real story. Meant what I said, but I'm going to get to the story. There are two mothers in Australia whose daughters play together at school. One mother packs her daughter fresh berries. She's a mother of four, of course, and this child loves fresh berries. The other mother, from what I gather on this story, but the lady can explain it, is poor and can't afford this. We know this is an everyday thing called food jungles in the United States. I'll get to that in a minute as a child that grew up under food jungles. Okay. One day out of nowhere, the Aussie mom who could afford the berries for her daughter gets a message, or I think a note, or either a text, something saying, "Could you please quit putting berries in your child's lunches because now my child wants them?" Please understand if you're politically correct, it's time to turn this video off because I'm going to get real politically incorrect right now. At first, the mother who packed the berries felt bad because in Australia, apparently you can't share your kids' lunches. And to some degree, I guess in the United States, in certain districts, that's a thing too. But it's not a countrywide thing. Kids swap like apples for oranges here all the time. They swap their sandwiches. They swap their different types of waters and things. It's nothing here. Particular when you find out one or more of the children who are doing the swapping don't have food allergies. That's not allowed in Australia. This is a new thing to me. I'm learning a lot of new stuff. Okay. She got some advice online from some parents saying, just sneak over to the other mom's house, give her the berries, and then they both go off to school, which even I agree with the mom who gives the berries, that's just too much work because she's a mother of 4 children. Here's where I'm going to be bold. If it were me, the old-fashioned me would handwrite or type a nice letter showing a great amount of empathy for what she's going through, an appeal to the sense of her being a mother who's doing her best. But let her know in the most tactful way possible, those berries are still going in my child's lunch. See, your kids had better learn quick that fair and equal ain't fair and equal for real. Some people were just gonna have more than others. And the ideal and the absolute audacity, baby, I would just love to have gotten a note like that. I would be nice in the beginning, but let you know. And I'm not changing my household. And while your children are going to resent you, welcome to life. They can't have everything they want. In the United States, for a while in some states, there was a thing where kids would come home and say they were hungry because school districts were taking the kids' lunches because it had some type of nut butter. Well, we have one or two students who are allergic and la la la. I wish, if I was a parent, I wish a heifer would take my kids' lunch from them and punish them for somebody else's child's severe allergic reaction. This video gonna make y'all mad. I'm not trying to. If I had an allergy to peanut butter, I don't expect everybody else to stop eating it just because I got the allergy. Well, that's a reasonable thing. People getting in their feelings. No, carrying an EpiPen is a reasonable thing. Having discussions about it is a reasonable thing, so that that child does not get hurt. People who do this think that people are trying to intentionally hurt their kid. I get it. School districts can be sued for this now because it's gotten that politically correct in the United States. To be honest with you, the lady who went online to talk about this, I have a great amount of empathy for you. Because in doing that, she put you on the spot for having something she can't afford to give. If you ever find this video, which I doubt you would, just know that's not your fault. And again, I take a hard line on that because you've got to start teaching your kids that equal's not equal. I get it. School districts can get sued. I get it. A child's life is at stake. But those allergies, for so few people to have those allergies, does not justify the means to take peanut butter and nut butters from everyone. And what happened is, if you're gonna do it, because what happened in the States is that those kids would go hungry all day because they would snatch that lunch but did not tell the parents, so that kid would go home hungry. That's when it jumped the shark with me. And if you felt that way, why didn't you put something on your website for the school or something, give some literature to the kids saying that that thing was banned? Oh no, you just can't eat that because it might make that child sick. So that kid sitting in class hungry all day, because that's what was happening. I wish you would have done that and didn't try to reach me all day. I would not be a happy person. But now I had my rant. I stick by what I say. You put them berries in that baby's bag. You can't control what happens in someone else's household. And for her to even request that of you is selfish, because now she could probably make her daughter uncomfortable by saying, well, making it seem like that the world should be fair when it's really never going to be. I have an empathy, despite my hard line, for the woman who can't afford the berries, because I was that child growing up. I'm also smart enough to remember that when I saw kids with those fresh fruit, as crazy as this is, because I'm a rarity, I smiled at how their parents fought hard for them to have nice things like that. And that if I ever have kids, which probably ain't gonna happen because I'm 44, my kids would get those fresh, low glycemic fruits. It's inconceivable to me of that. When I say food jungle in the United States, what I mean is when I refer to low income areas where there aren't grocery stores, reasonably because of high crime, but historically because of like racial stratification. These days, I don't blame big chains for going in. Back then, it was racial stratification. You can have this if you live in this neighborhood, but you also have to look this way. So then fresh fruits and vegetables were not readily available for kids. And that's why we have the obesity crisis we do now, because you only had convenience stores selling fried food like the cut potatoes, which in North Alabama, I think we called ho-hos or JoJo's. It's called different things throughout the country. So you're eating that box of fried chicken and stuff, and then you take that into your adulthood and you don't have a like for fruits and vegetables because the grocery stores were so far you didn't get that all the time as a kid. Then that was with my one single parent. Then to go live with another single parent and I'm able to have fresh fruit difference of night and day. Then I became an adult and bought my own. So this woman is probably living the equivalent of what we call a food jungle in the United States. And for that, I have empathy. I don't lack empathy for this woman because I lived it and I know. When I would sit there, I'll give you a good example of why I empathize with this woman. Hope y'all don't laugh. When I was a little girl, my mom brought some white grapes home. Really green grapes, but they call them white grapes, okay? She was tired from a job she was working and took a nap. My mom won't remember this story. So she gave us Skittles. My brother and sister ate their Skittles, and while she was asleep, I snuck and ate her grapes. She immediately knew it was me. Tara, you eat my grapes? No. Lying, because I know I ate them grapes. There was something to be said for the fact that I'd much rather have those grapes than those Skittles. This is when the Skittles were still just the regular Skittles before they started branching off. You're not going to give me a pack of Skittles because they're the 5 fruity flavors and then try to convince me that that's fruit. That just wasn't going to work for me. I saw them grapes, and soon as she went to sleep, I crept in that fridge and started And there was another incident when I was over a lady's house years ago that I knew, I won't say name, and how her daughter knew I was deprived of fruit and was so nice. Oh, my mom won't mind, and loaded me up on grapes. When I was a little girl, I could get pears and plums in the wild. But as I got older, even I could get squash and tomatoes. That's back when I ate tomatoes and green beans straight out of my grandma's garden. But as she got arthritis and couldn't have a garden anymore, and as I got older and I was taken around her less, that's a whole nother story. I became part of a food jungle. And all I knew was salty food. I empathize with this lady. But I was never the type that thought other people should be punished based on what I can't access. But let's be honest about what this is. In modern times, people think, oh, I need to create equality that doesn't exist. Ma'am, if you find this video, you pack those berries in that child's box, and you don't feel bad about doing that. You can feel empathy for this lady because I do, and I'm in the United States. But the absolute audacity for her to tell you what to do in your household just because things are going on in her household. She has no right to put that pressure on you. What we should start doing overall, no matter what country we live in, is quit pushing this ideal, and particularly in the West, that equal is fully equal. We all know it's a lie. She doesn't know your circumstances and what you go through to be able to afford that little girl those berries. Well, my daughter's going to want what your child has. Why don't you sit down, have a nice conversation with her, age appropriate, and tell her that you're not trying to be mean. You just can't give her that. Instead of punishing another family for something that you just can't do. Because it's hard to keep empathy for long when you do stuff like this. Because what you implied without realizing it is, well, they're both little girls the same age and they should both have equal treatment. Define what equal is then. Help me to understand that. Baby, you pack that baby them darn low glycemic berries. If you believe in God, pray about it. If you're not, just hope that she'll forgive you. Because what she requested of you, in my opinion, is just wrong. Y'all leave my comments about food allergies and food security. Let me know what y'all think. Thanks. Bye.